Hey there, gang. Welcome back to Papa's Model Workshop. I'm Papa. This is my workshop. Okay, so I said in the last video that I was going to show you the Del Rey with the gloss varnish on it. Well, I did do that, but I have since worked on it. I showed you the gloss varnish on the Del Rey after it came right out of the dehydrator. Now, it had one coat of the gloss varnish applied, but since that video, I wet sanded it, shot it again, shot it back into the dehydrator. So here we are. Here's the Del Rey, okay? And that does have some polish on it. And I think my friend Charlie Haig, yeah, Charlie was asking, did I put polish on here? And yeah, I did put a little bit of polish on this. This was Tamiya polish on the gloss varnish by Kaleido. Okay, so I really tried sticking with all Kaleido products on this build. This is for the Assemblers United group build, just to remind you, sponsored by Lynx Scale Models, all right, and Shaggy's Awesome Garage. All right, they are sponsoring the Assemblers United group build, and that is what this is for. Okay, I also mentioned that I was going to use an acrylic panel liner for the panel lines. So I have gotten started a little bit here, and you can see, all right, right here, here's the panel lines, all right, and that is done with an acrylic ink, okay, and I'm not done with that yet, but I just wanted to throw a little bit on there for you and show you what that looks like. And I will take you back in the workshop in just a minute, and we'll see exactly how that is applied. Okay, I use a calligraphy pen to apply that. All right, let's see here. Tony's Angster 7947. Tony checked in, left a comment. I appreciate that. And Tony said that the top of this looked green, like a green vinyl top. I don't know how you got green out of that, but I guess we all interpret things in the in what we see. All right, but anyway, that has since been wet sanded and shot again and polished. So Tony, I hope that looks a little bit better to you. Okay, let's see what else here. James Downing asked about the panel lines, so I just covered that. And I'm going to mess this name up. I know it, and I apologize in advance because I know I'm going to mess this up. Jadiaj. That's the best pronunciation I can get. Jadioj. Jadiaj. Again, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, and I apologize. Anyway, he mentioned that he was having some problems applying the Kaleido paint. So I don't know exactly what your problems were, but I'm going to say this. If you were having issues with the paint adhering properly, or perhaps maybe running a little bit, what I will say is this paint, even though it's an acrylic, did indeed spray like a lacquer on the test spoons. And let me see here. I don't have a test spoon here. What is this? No, that's not Kaleido. I should have had a test spoon here. I'll show you one inside. Well, I'll show you this. There you go. Okay. And what I have found is with most acrylic paints, you have to put on a very light mist coat to begin with. Now, when I shot the test spoon, all right, I kind of went in, not full blast, but I wasn't really holding back either. And it went on very nicely. However, I did say that I was anxious to try it on a car body because on a car body, your surface area is just bigger than a spoon. What I discovered on a larger area like a car body is you do need to apply light mist coats. All right, and when I did my Del Rey, I probably pulled back on the trigger maybe a quarter of the way. I went on so lightly that the first couple of passes, you almost couldn't even see the paint, okay? And what I have found with most acrylic paints is you need to build up the layers, all right? You need to develop a foundation for the next pass to grab onto. And that's what I did with this car body, and I really didn't have any issues with the paint going on to the Del Rey. My issues were really things that were just carelessness on my part, unrelated to that. And I went over that in the last video. Most of it was just simply not taping areas and getting overspray. So, and that's not the paint's fault. That's Papa's fault. So that would be my suggestion, is try it in light mist coats. I'll tell you something that I have done in the past, and I think I've mentioned in the past. Testing your spoons, okay, is a great idea. I always advocate testing before you go straight to your build. But if you want to test on a surface that's a little bit larger than just simply a spoon, and you still don't want to go right over to your build, do this. What I do is I have plastic coated paper plates. It'll give you a larger surface to test on. And you can get those really anywhere. Supermarket, Target, Walmart, I mean, really anywhere. So that would be my suggestion. Have some plastic coated paper plates on hand to do your testing. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Of course, I want to mention my sponsor, Gallery. And as you know, you can get your 10% discount off of all Kaleido paints and Gallery airbrushes and all of their products, okay, if you put in my discount code PPMW at checkout. 10% off your whole deal. All right, good deal. And as usual, let me get this in so I clear my radar of this. If you want a shop card, there you go. There's the email, okay, and I will be happy to send you out a shop card if you're a content creator and you want to swap. There's the mailing address, okay, and I will be happy to swap shop cards with you. One other thing I mentioned, jumping into the USAC build, and somebody asked me, what does USAC stand for? And I had mentioned that it stood for Unified Scale Auto Content Creators. I had a couple of people that sent me messages and said, no, it doesn't stand for auto content creators. It's automotive. Okay, so I stand corrected. I apologize about that. So it stands for Unified Scale Automotive Content Creators, USAC. All right, and just in case you missed that video, this is going to be my USAC build. Hang on. Right there. Okay. And yep, I'm anxious to get to that. And also, I'll tell you what, I'm also anxious to get to. Remember I mentioned to you that I can't find a place to put that. I'll put it there for now. Remember I mentioned to you that I really like the old classic cars. Well, I think that that's what this is. I think that this just came in the mail. So let's take a look at this. I'm pretty sure that this is my old classic Roadster that I ordered. Let's take a look and see. I left my utility knife in the workshop, so I'm having to open this with a letter opener. Okay, it doesn't work as well. So I have to get like a gorilla with this to break the tape. All right, let's take a look. I'm betting you that's what this is. All right, yep. I got my sticker from Model Roundup. Okay, and let us see what we've got here. That's it. There you go. How cool is that? I mean, that is mega cool. All right. I love these old cars. That is just too darn cool. 1930. No, 13. 1913 Model T Speedster. All right. Excellent. Very, very cool. All right, I just wanted to share that with you. That actually arrived yesterday, I think. But I like to open things on camera with all of you so we can see it together. So anyway, and yeah, that came from Model Roundup. Okay, pretty good stuff. All right, I'll tell you what, let's head back into the workshop and let's do some panel lines, okay? Okay, guys, we're back here at the paint bench. Here is our Del Rey. Here are our panel lines right here, okay? Now, what I used to do the panel lines, hang on one second. I left the scriber over at the other bench, hang on. Okay, I've got the scriber. So there you go. So what I would suggest is going over your panel lines with this scriber, okay? I go over the door lines, okay, and the trunk, all right? Be careful when you do this, all right? Because you can insert this right here into your line, and it's very easy to go outside of that panel line and scratch, all right? And then you've got some repair work to do. Another thing you can do, and I will admit, sometimes this thing is a little bit cumbersome to use. It does a nice job, but sometimes what you can do is you can use your X-Acto knife, okay? And you would use the back of it. All right, so here's the sharp part right down here. Well, I would turn it around, okay, and back scribe it, okay, and go along with the back. That gives you a little bit more control, I think, sometimes. And in fact, I kind of wish that I did do that, because I do have a scratch over here that I'm going to have to deal with, okay? So just be careful. Go slowly with this. You know, if you've seen other people in other videos doing this, you know, there are times when it looks like, you know, sometimes you come up and you just go, you know, and we're cruising along. Don't do that, okay? Go slowly. Take your time. All right, and sometimes in the process of doing this, you know, you're kind of coming down and you'll run into a little bit of an obstruction inside that recessed area. Don't force that, all right? Because if you force it, all right, and you come down and then it kind of hops over, you're going to end up going across like this, all right? So just be careful, go slowly. If you run into an obstruction, what I would do is just skip the obstruction, okay, and go below it and continue on your way. And when you're all finished, then you can come back in, maybe with the back of that X-Acto knife or something, and just work on that one little area rather than trying to, you know, sail through it. Just my suggestion, just my recommendation, okay? So, you know, I did that, again, on the panel lines here for the door, losing my thing again, and, you know, back here, all right? So, let me get this off. I mentioned this in the other video, and this thing is just really, this, to me, a holder is just very cranky. I have to find the other one because it just doesn't like holding anything I put on it. I don't know why. I've never had a problem with these before. Okay, so I did go over this with some polishing compound. This is what I used. I know I said that I was going to try to stick with all Kaleido products for this, but I did not have a polishing compound from Kaleido, so I used this, okay? And then I finished it off with this, all right? So that's what I used to polish. I don't know if this is going to show up on camera. I tested it on a spoon first. This side was done with the polishing compound. This was not. All right. I don't know if you can, I mean, to me, standing here, I can see that this is a little shinier than this side. All right. Compound side, side with no compound. All right. Now, this had the gloss varnish applied to it. All right. This is the Kaleido. I can't see that without my glasses. You can probably see it, but I can't. Okay. Italian Racing Red. This is what happens when you get old. You can't see. And there is no gloss varnish on this. All right. This side got the compound. This side does not. All right. Compound, no compound. And there's no gloss varnish on this, okay? This is straight out of the bottle. All right. So, whole car was done in the compound. I think it looks okay. All right. Not too shabby. Yeah, I've got my scratch mark to deal with. We'll deal with that later. So let's flip around. See, you see this? This thing is doing it on purpose now to aggravate me. I mentioned it on camera, and now it thinks it's a big shot, and it keeps doing it on purpose. This is what I do. I use for the panel lines the India ink. Well, actually, I don't know if this is India ink. It's Speedball acrylic ink. Okay, and I use this mixed at a ratio of 1:1 with just water. Right. So here it is. Here's my mixture right there. All right, mixed 1:1 with water. Okay, and as I mentioned, I use the calligraphy pen. Okay, so this is not terribly difficult to do, but the car is here, the camera is here, and I am behind the camera, so I have to reach around the camera to try to do this. So I'm going to apologize in advance. I hope I don't spaz this up. Let me start by showing you. I take the calligraphy pen, I tilt this to make a little bit of a puddle, and I tip the calligraphy pen right inside there. Can you see? All right, so I've got the ink right inside there, okay? All right, so actually, I'm going to take this off because this thing is just not cooperating. I'm going to stick it over here. And let me see if I can get around this camera and do this. All right, here's an important element here, okay? At least in my opinion. As much as you can, get this pen to go straight up and down. Don't do it at an angle, all right? So let's see. Actually, you know what? I'm going to reposition this camera. I'm going to reposition this so you can see it a little bit better. Hang on. Okay, I've got an overhead shot here. I think you'll be able to see this a little bit better, particularly since I'm telling you to hold this thing up and down, right? And wait a minute, let me put my glasses on, because seeing is a good thing. It really is. All right, let's go in here now. Again, my pen is loaded. I'm going to go up and down here. All right, and I'm in the groove. All right, and I'm just going to go right along now. I feel a little bit of an obstruction there. So I'm not going to fight that. I'll go back and I'll touch that up later. All right, I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to pull through. All right. Now, some of you might be saying, well, Papa, you know what? If I use the Tamiya panel liner, okay, all I have to do is dab it and it'll run. And I don't have to worry about that. Well, that's true. You can do it that way, but keep in mind, this is an acrylic that I'm using, okay, on this car. And the Speedball is an acrylic. So, you see right there where I got a little boo-boo right there? Can you see that? All right. This is why I prefer, let me grab my little Tamiya swab here, okay, and this is simply water. I'm going to dip that in there, okay, and I'm going to go right back to that little boo-boo, okay. I'm looking at the boo-boo now. I can't look on camera, so I hope this is showing up, all right, and I hit, I hit the panel line and made it come back out again, all right, but now, okay, that boo-boo is gone. It's relatively simple to clean up boo-boos, right? You got to be careful. That's why I went to a very small cotton swab, because if you hit the panel liner in the recessed area, yeah, you'll drag it out, all right? Let me show you something quick, okay? Let's go over to this spoon, for example, all right? So let me grab my ink, my black acrylic ink. All right, let's say you make a boo-boo, okay? All right. So there's our boo-boo. And I am going to grab a little bit of water on my cotton swab, okay? And I will take that right off. Okay. All right. Okay. Comes right off. I just find that it cleans up easier when you're using an acrylic. All right. And it's just water. Now, what I have also found is there are occasions where it may not want to come off as easily as that. If you put just a tiny drop of Dawn dish detergent in there, that will help. Okay, but it's quicker and easier. And by the way, what I use, these are flannel. That's what I'm trying to say. These are little flannel sheets. Okay, and I buy those. I think I went to Joanne Fabrics to get this. And you get, I got it in a whole big thing here, okay? And I cut it up into little squares. It's nice and soft. So that's what I use. I use it for polishing, okay? Whoops, there we go. I use it for polishing. I will use it for, cleaning up boo-boos. The little flannel squares, I think, work really very nicely. Just my opinion. Okay, so you can see that it cleans up rather nicely. Also, the pigment in this is very, very rich. It's very deep. Now, the Tamiya panel liner, it's a very dark black as well. Okay, I'm not down on the Tamiya panel liner at all, but this is an enamel. All right, so enamel, acrylic, just for purposes of cleaning up boo-boos, I just think that this one does a little bit better in cleanup and so forth. And, you're going to get that. As you come down, all right, you are going to have little marks. As a matter of fact, with the Tamiya panel liner, that's what you're doing. You're coming in with the brush and you're touching and it runs down. And where you touch, you get a little tiny blotch and you have to go back and clean that up. In general, it's really not terrible to clean that up. But again, it's just my preference. I just feel that this cleans up a little bit easier. Okay. So I hope that helps with regard to applying this with the calligraphy pen. And this is very easy to clean up. All right. When you're all done, I did have, I don't know what, there it is. Okay. No, that's just water, okay? And when I'm all finished, I'll just put that right in the water, all right? And that will pretty much clean it up, all right? Still a little bit left in there, but that little bit that's in there, okay, see that little bit that's left in there? I'll just grab a Tamiya swab, okay? And I'll just clean that right out. All right. The other thing I want to mention too is, pretty much clean. Okay. Yeah, I know I've got to work on that little edge right there, but I'm trying to move this along. But you can see it's mostly clean, and I don't want to sit here and take the time to get it 100% clean because I'm going to be standing here. Whoops, I can't get my Tamiya swab. I'm going to be standing here and going all into the nooks and crannies. I'm sure you don't want to be bored watching me to do that. But really, water pretty much gets this clean. Okay. All right. Let me set that aside. Be mindful when you come in with your cotton swabs to clean up a given area, okay? Wipe the area, and you don't want to go back in to that area with the same side of the swab. See that dark on there, all right? You don't want to go back in there with that dark and continue wiping, all right? At the very least, turn the thing over so you get a clean side, or go to the other end that hasn't been used yet, or go in and just take a fresh cotton swab, okay? But don't recontaminate your area by going in with dark Okay, you don't want to put that back on your car. All right, so just be mindful of that. All right, I think that's going to do it for now. Okay, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run some gold bare metal foil along this area here. Okay, if you take a good look, you know, these lines are not really, you know, I've got what, there you go, now you can see. Some of these lines come up above. I'm not worried about that because I'm going to have the bare metal foil covering that. I've got another one on this side. Where is it? There it is. Okay, again, bare metal foil is going to cover that, so I'm not worried about that stuff. So I think that this will kind of wrap it up for this video. So as usual, I appreciate all of you for tuning in again and putting up with me. And if you have not subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching this on the Facebook side, jump over to YouTube, look up Papa's Model Workshop, and hit the subscribe button. It'll help me grow, and you will continue to be stuck with me. Okay, so, and give me a thumbs up, too. And if you think that this stinks, you can give me a thumbs down. All right. So I will see you all in the next video.